So let's take another phase of your life, acting. Tell us how you got into that, and then more details as to what soap opera you were in and some of the things you did for them.
Well, acting is something that I first got involved with when I was in junior high school on a very limited basis at Hood Junior High. I had an English teacher, Ron Dion, and I was in two plays, 6th grade and 7th grade, Of the Icing and Tied to the Tracks. Amazing, I still remember them. But I loved it. There was just something about being on stage that it just fascinated me, and it was such an incredible feeling being up there on stage, basically playing somebody else, playing a character. Of course, I got into high school and my interest quickly fell to the wayside. I got involved in the family business. I spent a lot of time, I worked probably 25 hours a week through high school for my dad and participated in athletics. Went away and worked in baseball. What happened was when I left the Pawtucket Red Sox and moved back up to New Hampshire for 2.5 years, I was pretty out of shape at that time. I weighed about 230 pounds, and I had been eating a lot of stadium food for 5.5 years. So
now I know what you mean.
Yeah, but being in the business, the restaurant business, you're on your feet all day, and combining being on my feet all day at USA Subs with a strict workout regimen, I shed about 50 pounds and got to the point where I was interested in doing a little bit of modeling, originally modeling before acting. So I contacted a local agency in Manchester, New England Models Group, worked with a couple of New York photographers, did a portfolio, took an acting class down in Boston at CP Casting with Ken Cheeseman, who's an actor and a teacher at Emerson College as well. And that feeling I had back in junior high, the passion for the art of acting and theater came back like that. I sold both of my vehicles, packed up everything, and bought this book, Making It in New York City.
Okay.
Read it a couple of times.
An actor's guide to making it in New York City.
Yeah, I mean, I had no experience. Most people, when they start out acting, it's something they do from high school on, and then they decide to do theater or television or film, and then they decide, am I going to move to New York or LA, or maybe if it's comedy, Chicago. So I really had no idea what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. I moved to New York. I took more classes, and was lucky enough to take a class with the casting director of All My Children and the casting director of One Life to Live on daytime television, soap operas. Now, they filmed 4 soap operas in New York City: As the World Turns, Guiding Light, both on CBS, All My Children and One Life to Live on ABC. The rest are all shot out in LA. So while I was studying in New York, I figured it'd be interesting to learn the business from the ground up by working background as an extra. But I mailed out that headshot and resume to over 300 casting directors, agents, and managers in New York, and got a phone call from Amerifilm Casting in New York City asking if I wanted to be an extra on a couple of episodes of Sex and the City. And I jumped at the opportunity.
Yeah, I would too.
And it was the last season of the show.
Oh, yeah.
So there were only 5 episodes left, and I was fortunate enough.
So what did you play?
It's funny because as an extra, I was a patron in a restaurant.
Okay.
And there were 150 extras, and I was fortunate enough to be, you sit at this table, and this table happened to be about 5 feet away from where Kim Cattrall was sitting with a few other actors. So when the episode aired on HBO, I had good visibility. Yeah. And was able to put that on what you call your actor's reel, which is a basic DVD of your experience.
Right.
They called me in for the following episode to do the same thing, and this one was the second to last episode, which supposedly was taking place in Paris, France, and we shot at a bar in New York City, supposedly Paris, France, and I just played a patron again there, but again, very close, just luck. You stand here, and I could have been placed off on the outskirts, and I was lucky enough to be put at a good proximity to get camera time. And that's all it was camera time experience. Then. We had a 7 a.m. call time at a restaurant in Chelsea, which is a neighborhood of Manhattan, and we worked until 1 in the morning. So we were there from 7 a.m. until 1 in the morning. And on the first episode of Sex and the City, the major star that was there was Kim Cattrall. She was there the entire time. The second episode, it was Sarah Jessica Parker and Mikhail Baryshnikov. And that was a 12-hour day in Manhattan. Again, you've got hair and makeup, you've got rehearsing, you've got multiple takes, you've got small problems with extras even. You know, if there's too much chatter on the set, it can disrupt the entire sound process. So you have breaks, a lot of breaks, because everything is, you know, written into the actors and actresses' contracts. They have, you know, so many breaks that they are able to be given. And I brought a couple of scripts that I just keep as souvenirs from One Life to Live. And, you know, basically on these scripts, one little scene can be as much as 6 pages. And on one of the episodes of One Life to Live, I didn't even have a line. I played a patron, and I grabbed the script, and it tells me I have a 10 a.m. call time, an 11 a.m. rehearsal, and a break for lunch from 12 to 1, and then hair and makeup at 1:30, and then another rehearsal at 3, and then we shot at 5. And this was a 3-second clip that I brought with me that we can take a look at.
Sure.
And the script was so simple. It basically was patron walks up to the bar, sees an empty seat next to Sonia, sits down. Sonia looks at patron and says,
"I'm waiting for someone."
Patron leaves. The first episode, I just play a cop, and I thought I was going to the studio that day thinking I was just going to be an extra working background, and it turned out that one of the main characters, John McBain, who's still on the show today, has a line that he says to a few of us cops, and I got bumped up to what they call an under 5 increased pay. The second clip, I'm playing an officer again. I ended up becoming a recurring officer, Officer Morrison, and basically, again, it's just instruction from Bo Buchanan's character, who's still on the show. And the final one was my first speaking appearance on the show. A couple of lines playing punk number 2, actually, with a handful of regulars on the show. And that right there, once you're in the union AFTRA for a full year, and you get your first speaking part, you become Screen Actors Guild eligible, SAG eligible. So this is the role that allowed me to join the Screen Actors Guild.
My plans, we got Zip.
Hey, party down at the quarry this afternoon.
Dude's coming?
I can't, we're working. The Love Center. It ought to be the Loser Center.
Yeah, well, why don't you scram? What we're doing here is really important.
Nobody invited you, short stuff.
Excuse me. You know what? Why don't you lay off her, loudmouth? I've seen you around, man. Thought you were cool.
Yeah, well, maybe we're so cool is because we don't care what idiots like you say.
It's all taped with 3 cameras. Yep, it's all taped with 3 cameras, and I know that some of the soaps are experimenting with different formats. All My Children is kind of going for a different style nowadays, similar to what the television show The Shield did. They're kind of working on something like that, but most of them have remained 1 episode a day, you know, and it can be a 12-hour day.
And like you said, the script is given them the night before.
The night before, and it's this thick, and you know.
And then they have to come in early in the morning, or
come in early in the morning. Everybody has different call times, so based on,
that's true too.
You know, based
but
on
the main actors.
The main actors, they're there every day. You know, it's just, you know, it's interesting because again, actors like athletes sometimes can get a bad reputation, and they do make a lot of money. Like right off the bat, 10% to your agent, 10 to 15% to your manager, your publicist, and whatnot. And my time in New York.
Do you have an agent?
Well, you know, it's funny you ask that because I don't have an agent and I don't have a manager. I was able to get all of my work on my own, which is something that I'm kind of proud of. You know, pounding the pavement.
It's awfully hard to do it on your own. Yeah.
I was at the time I got the roles on One Life to Live, I was 30 with basically no experience.
Yeah.
I don't know many people that at the age of 29 or 30 give up a really good career, which I had at USA Subs, to drop everything, move to New York and say, I'm gonna try to be an actor and be on TV.